Alright, good afternoon, at least it is for me. Today we're going to play a custom game of Carrier Command 2. I like to do the maximum number of AI teams, which is 4, somewhere over 40 islands. I like to start with 2 islands, just makes things kind of move a little bit quicker in the very beginning, and then default loadout. So let's get started and see what we have. I've recently found that a combination of mantas and rocket pods is incredibly powerful in the game. Let's see what we have near us that we can get. So we've got fuel. We are going to need to get those turrets. Definitely need those mantas. There are our rockets. So here, and here are the the ones that I definitely have to get. Let's see what shield level they are. 1, 1, and 1. So, well, why don't we go get Bacchus, and then we'll come over get Judgment and Beacon, and we'll be in a very good starting position. Turning off all the weapons so I can get as fast as possible. I do like to have my current on so I can see where the ocean current is. We should be able to get some good speed here. 39 degrees will be our initial bearing. Alright, while we are starting that, I'm going to get some provisions moving on over. So at least 200 flares. We've got all 10. I need all of those AA missiles and all of the cruise missiles and all the torpedoes that are available. I always like to have a couple of extra flare launchers on board. All the gimbals available. 10 virus modules. Never hurts to get a couple of extra razor bills because you will lose them. And we'll start off with some fuel. Let me get the barge moving. That barge will go back and forth between me and our house, the warehouse. Alright. We are about 22 clicks from so I'll get these two set up with the depth on the right. I am going to slow down and get an observation. Plane launched. Albatross to start going around this island so I can start spotting. While we're still here in reasonably calm waters, I will launch that, and then we'll get started again. While that is launching, I'm going to set up my razor bills. I like to set them up with auto cannons and a single IR countermeasure, both of them. And this Albatross that is not currently taking off, I'm going to outfit with AA missiles. Right. Let's see where our Albatross is. It'll take off in just a few seconds, so I want to be cresting this wave so it doesn't hit the wave. Don't take off yet. There we go. Just in time. Keep up with progress as we are making way towards that. So we will hit Bacchus. How about Magma? Does Magma have... No, it just has albatrosses. So we will hit Bacchus, and we will come over. Not a bad idea to hit this, the turrets, so we can get rockets. And then we will also need to take out that, so we'll take it. We're going to get the rockets here, get the launchers, get the Manta, and there's our petrels. So if we take out all of these, we have a decent amount of what we'll need. And we're going to have to start looking for some small munitions, so we'll need to get the small munitions with the smoke or flares on the left, the very left side. And then I like to have 160s as well, so we will have to hit these two munitions at some point. I do like to take out my opponent's warehouses. It's a great way to get free gas, 100A anti-aircraft missiles, and that sort of thing. The AI carriers have infinite weapons, from what I can tell, and provisions. We're moving along swimmingly, 98 knots. This guy isn't moving too much faster than that. 120, let's start spotting. Since this is a one shield, I am not going to worry about actually finding out what everything is. I just want to spot them so I know when I take in my razor bill where they are. Usually easier against the white, snowy background. I've only found one thus far. Must be clumped together somewhere. Odd. Well, there's a single one here. Oh, there's another one. I'll wait till they turn their lights on, since for some reason I'm not seeing them very easily today. I'm going to bring in my Albatross a little closer to the island. Clicks. Launch my Albatross here in a bit. Actually gonna slow carrier down while I do a little bit of spotting. Should be something like 12 or so vehicles on a one shield. There we go. Everybody's turned on their lights, which helps a lot. At least they're starting to turn on their lights. Back out real quick, make sure I'm not too close. Alright. So, since I do not have a petrol, I'm going to need to get close to where the virus bots are going to have to travel to. So I'm turning to 77, right there. 27 knots will not get me in trouble. Go back to spotting. There should be more vehicles with their lights on. There's 3 over here. Now I found them. They were all hiding in the outlying islands. So that is 13. That should be about it. We'll leave him up. We will launch our Razorbill. Nice sunrise here. You can see here the Razorbill was moving. Shortly after, it will appear here, and it will actually take off directly from the elevator. Slow the carrier down a little bit more while I go. In the Razorbill, I'll be traveling about 40 to 50 knots at most times. That should give me plenty of time. I am going to set my auto cannons to manual, and as long as that albatross stays around the island, all of the vehicles that I have marked will stay marked. So again, in a one shield island, I will stay about 400 or so meters or feet. I will shoot just to the side of these vehicles where their headlights are, and essentially get them to move into my bullets. Let myself get a little too low there. Now in a one shield, I really don't worry too much about these vehicles. When you get to a 2 and especially 3 and 4, they can really take you out pretty quickly. you'll have bears that have large cannons that'll just snipe you out of the air, and then of course the essentially Sea Whizzes, or the anti-air guns that will pound you pretty hard. Take out these couple, and then we will back in the carrier and launch our shields. The other thing I like to do is when I'm pretty sure that I have finished everybody off, I like to fly the helicopter and watch it, and it'll give you a exclamation point, a red exclamation point if it's being fired on. I guess that was a sunset, even though it looked like it was going up. Alright, I'm going to get the carrier as close as possible to this red icon without beaching myself. So there are two things that you can use to make sure that you're not going to hit land. The first is the ocean depth. You can see that as long as it's not yellow or red, you're fine, and then this is your depth sonar. It'll start yelling at you as you get close. What I'm going to do is pull right to about here and then back in. So just about another 10 seconds. You'll see here that my razor bill has queued in, and you'll hear a little beep letting you know that it will be landing, and then it'll say landing. So the key, one of the keys here is don't turn the carrier while it's landing, or it will cause problems. You can hear it and see it landing. Come on, buddy, land. You'll pretty quickly hear it land with a little whistle. So I am going to turn to the back, and then I'm going to reverse in, because the carrier is faster than any of the ground vehicles. Now later on we will have a helicopter. Essentially it's kind of like a an Osprey, and it will be able to carry ground vehicles, but we're this time going to back in as much as we can without hitting land. Alright, next step is to choose the seal. This seal has virus spots on it, and I'm actually going to tell it to deploy those virus spots and then have it come immediately back. While that is happening, I will ask my Albatross to land, and we'll think about what our next move is. So if there was another one shield island nearby that I wanted something from, I would actually begin to attack that. The other thing we're going to see is that I have 4 adversaries. These are the 2 starting islands that all 4 of them had. The next island they take will tell me which direction they're headed. Now, if, for instance, Magma or Avernus were one shield, I may actually launch an Albatross to go start looking at them, and could, in fact, even launch a helicopter to go start shooting things as I traveled to the island. But I'm not going to do that because we have to float or drive a long way over to Judgment, because that is the next important thing for us. So you'll see that the seal is in fact driving around. Now, one thing about the seals is they are slow when they're in woods, and so if you take control of them and drive them yourselves, it'll save you some time. The way to deploy the virus bots is to choose the virus bots, turn them to manual, and then shoot them or launch them. Don't know why one of them is stuck on me. There we go, just fell off. And I'm going to start driving back towards my ship to save some time, instead of having the AI do it for me. And I'm going to go off of a large hill, which sometimes will make you turn upside down. Alright, now that I'm out of the woods, I can just tell the virus bot to come directly to the carrier. You'll see when your virus bots are working, it will flash, and there will be like a little timer here, a little bar graph that tells you how long it's going to take. None of our AI friends have captured any islands yet. And as soon as our seal is back, we are going to turn right to 275 degrees, due west, and go as quickly as possible. All of our airplanes have landed. Our air assets, we're still waiting for that surface asset. So this is air, this is surface. Later on, the way I play, we will have other air assets. We will not have other surface assets. I'm also going to make sure to turn off reverse, because many, many times I have forgotten and I've backed into the island that I'm backed up to. So we have taken over Bacchus. It will give us medium bombs, cruise missiles, heavy bombs, rockets, AA missiles, torpedo countermeasures, and noise. So everything I need to take out enemy carriers are heavy bombs and rockets. I'm going to stay here and wait for the magic noise that tells me that my seal has begun to board. You'll hear a whistle, and then you will see this begin to flash, telling you that it is on board. In fact, we can watch it. The little red icon is a bullet, and it tells you that it is out of ammunition. So there we go. It is now boarding. You can watch it board here. by going to surface, and you can see that it's now on board the ship, so we are going to take off. Now, at different times in the game, I may wait for this barge to meet up with me if there was things I needed. For instance, I might wait for the barge, but in this case, I just need to get over to the next island as quickly as possible. So it's actually showing that the barge has docked, but it's not showing that it's actually delivered anything. This is the amount of money we have. I'm not going to start necessarily, well, maybe I will start making rockets since they take a while. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to zoom in on this island that we just took, and I am going to make some rockets. So rockets are 10 coins per rocket, and so I am going to make 100 rockets. That drops my bank down to 129, but 100 rockets will get me a decent distance in the game in being able to take out things, both on islands and also initial attacks of carriers and of surface ships. The noise we just heard, like whoo, was one of the virus bots retiring. They destroy themselves. There's the other one. So after you take any island, you'll usually hear 2 of that little whistle. Otherwise, it means that you've lost something. You've lost an airplane, you've lost a Razorbill helicopter, or a ground vehicle. The power, you want to have green in everything, so if I were to turn on my weapons and then begin to really turn on a lot of the weapons, you would actually hear the engine slow down and see that it is not operating efficiently. And so power management is very important, especially when you start to launch vehicles and air assets. You want to make sure that you're not in the yellow zone, because the crane and the lift will operate very slowly, in my experience, when you're not showing green. You can always turn off your radar to save a little bit of power, and that will stop not only your radar but your sonar, so you will not see ships or aircraft coming in. So since the current is going to be pushing us this way, I'm actually going to change my heading a little bit to about 270. Oh, 273 should be fine. And you'll see that with our ocean depth in the purple now, we're going to have very large waves. But I want to make sure that that is green, because I want to be traveling as quickly as possible. I think I just caught air. So I'll probably wait to launch my air assets to when I get to kind of that green, that bluey green area, because I don't like to launch air assets in really heavy waves. You'll lose them semi-frequently, and nothing dampens your game like losing an important albatross at the beginning of your game. I'm going to outfit this albatross with a couple of 4 autocannons, and you'll see why a little bit later. Every once in a while you want to take out a ground vehicle or strafe a aircraft hangar. I'll use that a lot more with the Mantas, which are much faster jets than the Albatross. The other 2 things that you have that are air assets are the Razorbill, which is essentially the helicopter that I was just flying, and then the Petrel, which is a heavy lift vehicle. It will actually lift up ground vehicles, and it will carry 4 guns, and so at the same time. So they're nice when you're trying to take a island that's kind of far off. I'm going to change my heading to 269. So heading is up here at the top. Currently attempting to turn, and then you can maintain your heading. I do not want to maintain it at 263. 265 is close enough. When it comes to weapons, you have 2 AA anti-aircraft launchers. They're right here. They shoot AA missiles. I usually only turn one of them on unless I'm expecting multiple aircraft coming in. For instance, when I'm taking on a aircraft carrier. Then you have CIWS, or anti-aircraft guns. They are at the front and the back. Actually, see if we can see one here, and it's important to know where they are, because you'll want to take them out when you are taking out other carriers. Here are your 2 torpedo launchers, and then here's the CIWS. Ooh, I just went into the ground. So here's one CIWS, there's the other. I am now in the air. There's another 2 at the front of the ship. Also, here is your cannon. And back there were the Tomahawk missiles, or the cruise missiles. Alright, let's see how we're doing. Making nice progress here. Notice our barge is chasing us. About 8,000 meters or 8 kilometers until we get to the launch point for our Albatross. Other things here that are weapons, you have a flare launcher, so you can actually shoot a very large flare above your ship if you want to see on an island that is dark. We've got cruise missiles that are essentially like Tomahawk missiles, and then the main gun, which is right there and shoots 160 millimeter bullets. Those are very effective when you are taking on 3 and 4 shield islands and you need to take out anti-aircraft vehicles and turrets. They're also, the 160 millimeter gun is very effective against other carriers in carrier battles. So save those bullets, and they are expensive, so save those shells as much as you can. Then you have torpedoes. You have those 2 tubes that I showed you. So you can load torpedoes on left and right, 2 tubes each, and then you can also load noisemakers, which will act as a decoy for other torpedoes that are launched at you. Alright, it looks like we're close enough now that we can see where the actual virus bots need to deploy, so I am going to change my direction a little bit and come in on the north side. Current's going to push us a little bit towards, so I don't want to get too close. You'll see that things are already starting to calm down a little bit. We're not way up in the air anymore. And you can see from the screen on the left that we are now into some of that blue, so I am going to launch an Albatross. To start surveying this island. And you'll hear that now that it is picking up the airplane and taking it, so you'll see that the crane down in the hold has actually picked up the airplane. It has now put it on the lift, which is there. This is your elevator status, and as soon as it starts moving up, that will tell you that the elevator is beginning to move. You'll actually see the flashing lights from the Albatross itself as it moves onto the elevator. And here is the Albatross. It takes somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds to take off after it starts backing out. So it started moving at 16 seconds there, once it started backing out, by my count. And we're going to keep moving at a 15 or so knots. And I'm going to get into that Albatross and start looking. So it's going to be hard to see the vehicles because of the color of the ground, but as it gets darker we'll see their lights. It helps when they shoot at you. I just got a shot at somewhere around there. There we go. Oh, thank you for turning on your lights, guys. I count 11 vehicles thus far. You don't want to get too close to the island. There's 12. It's probably going to be pretty close, 12, 13. With your carrier, because you will start getting shot at. Alright, let's see where we are. I'm going to stop here and launch a Razorbill. And hopefully launch a Razorbill before I start getting shot at. You'll see that these guys are starting to move to attempt to shoot at me, and they will start coming towards you. While that Razorbill is beginning to launch, I'm going to hop back into my Albatross and see if I can find any more. Yep. 14. 15. Oh. Decent number on this island. Again, this is a one shield island, and so I feel comfortable enough just taking things out with Razorbills. You'll see the Razorbills coming up, and there it's taking off. So I'm going to hop into it. I'm actually going to let the Razorbill do its thing to get to 400 on the altimeter. And then I'll take it over once it calms itself down. These guys are a little gung-ho. Getting really low, and so I'm going to try and get fast so I don't get shot. They will take you out every once in a while if you're not careful, and if you get sloppy like I just did. When they're in the ocean, they're very hard to shoot. Like this one right here might be hard. We'll see. So that's one I missed. Okay. I pass those and come back. So now I'm too high. I'll show you here. Oh, I'm gonna go get all these guys, and then we'll go get that one that's in the ocean. You'll see that these 20mm autocannons are incredibly powerful. Alright, now I have to go get this last one. Now what I could do is hop out of this Razorbill. Oh, darn it. I just ran out of ammo. So I am going to have that guy hover over here. And I'm going to bring in the carrier closer as I launch another Razorbill, because I need to take that straggler out. and get as close as possible so I can start to turn around and launch my seal. Very close. Now, I don't mind turning the ship while I'm launching a Razorbill, but I don't like to land a Razorbill while I'm turning. As soon as I am turned due north, I will launch my seal, and with this new Razorbill, I will go take out that last straggler. Deploy that vehicle. So I'm going to ask this Razorbill to land, and then I'm going to take control of this Razorbill and go take out that straggler. Now, the reason that guy is going to be so hard to kill is he's in the water. So I'm actually going to target him, and it gives you a pip, a little reticle of where you should shoot. You'll see that I'm hitting him a little, but there's no... You have to hit him directly. There we go. Alright, a whole bunch of things are going to happen all at the same time. Since I'm going up to Beacon, I'm also going to launch a Albatross up to Beacon, so I can start surveilling that while I'm finishing up in this island. I'm going to let that launch first. This Razorbill is going to land. I should have launched the Albatross before I landed the Razorbill. We're already starting to take the island. This Razorbill is waiting to land. I just have him hovering there. The Albatross is still going around. I could take this Albatross up there, but if you'll see when I click on the Albatross itself, it has 64% fuel, and I don't want to potentially lose an Albatross this early on. If it was a Manta, I would definitely send it up there because they are much longer duration and they are a lot faster. We are starting to take on provisions from the barge that was chasing us, so we have 200 more flares, 10 cruise missiles, a couple more Razorbills, anti-aircraft missiles. I'm going to now... I forgot to... Nope, we've got the torpedoes, so it was able to pick up some of the torpedoes, but not. This is a listing of everything you killed. It's nice to be able to see. Alright. I heard the whistle, which means my aircraft is being picked up by the crane, deposited near the lift. Oh, and my seal is already back. Okay, there. So now that it's already gotten on the lift, I can actually tell my other two air assets to land. You'll see the lights here, and we can actually turn on the runway lights now. it doesn't matter in multiplayer if you have them on or off. And the island has been captured, so now we can make rocket pods, which I will be making very quickly. Alright, we can also see where our friends are going. So this one has gone north, this one's coming straight southwest, this one's going straight south, and that one's going east. So I will be able to capture all of these pretty easily. We have 1,800 coins. I'm going to build some rocket pods. 4 to start. And so for this barge, I'm going to have it go back to the warehouse, then come over and pick up rockets, then come pick rocket pods, and then come and drop things. It is empty. So the irritating thing is you have to then order. Even though you've just created them, you then have to order them as well. So I will need to order the 4 rocket pods even though they haven't been created. And hopefully they'll be done by the time the barge gets over there. Alright, we have landed that. We will land this albatross, and I will start surveilling this beacon. And I like to try and surveil at night. As you've seen, it is much easier to see all of the ground vehicles when they turn on their lights for you. It's very nice of them. And again, if this was a 2 or a 3 shield, I would be more worried with what these are. But in a 1 shield, they're just little cannons that are highly inaccurate. Okay, so I will come through the south. And now I'm just checking out the horizon to see if I see anything going on. I don't. Looks to me like I have targeted all of the ground vehicles. There will not be any turrets in A1. And a 1 shield. Waiting for that albatross to land, and as soon as it lands, I'm going to very quickly head towards this island. I will not wait until I'm at the island to launch my Razor Bill. I'll launch it as I get a little closer, because I'm really trying to take these early islands as quickly as possible. Alright, looks like I got everything. A whole bunch up there in the north. This will actually tell you, well, the albatross is actually landing right now, so here it goes. And now that we are start heading as quickly as I can to that island. We'll also take granite once we get there. We've got 11 kilometers. As soon as this guy is put away, in fact, I'm going to order up I don't want him to go 11 kilometers yet. We'll travel a little distance. I'm going to turn off my radar so I can keep as much speed as possible while the elevator is active. So you'll see that this is, and in fact this is a great time for us to go down and see what happens with these aircraft, so you can understand what they're doing. Alright, so here's the aircraft hangar. You'll see that that Albatross is coming down on the elevator. The Albatross moves in, and then it gets picked up by the crane, and that crane is what is using power to then put it back over in its slot. Crane would move much slower if we did not have enough power. And therefore you would be launching out off your air assets much slower. Alright, decide which way we're going. I'm going to go to 324. Steering towards 324 and then hitting maintain heading. At 100 knots, we'll transverse this pretty quickly. Another trick here is you can turn off the crane and the lift. You can choose the asset that you want to launch. It will give you the little whistle saying that the asset is ready, and it actually won't do anything until you then turn the crane on. So you can wait until you get a little closer, see that the asset thinks it's getting ready to leave, and it is, but there's no crane. Right, now that we're a little closer, I can actually see where the base is. 333 is where I'm going to go, and then I will launch pretty quickly after that. I don't want 339. Ah. Right, turn on the crane. I'm going to slow down the carrier so the crane has full power. See the flashing lights. Crane is lifting it up, or the elevator is lifting it up, and I will let that guy get to his 400 meters. We'll continue driving. I can drive at about maybe 30 knots. Maybe not 30 knots. So 3,000 meters, I'm going to slow down to, there we go, 20 knots or so I don't crash into the island while I pick off all of these. Surface vehicles. weather is bad. It is smoggy. The AI, when you have it flying the helicopters, flies at about 40 to 50 knots. No, 45 to 50 knots. If you just shoot at about the center of these target boxes, you'll get them, especially in A1 shield. Flying a helicopter, so you've got to increase your throttle when you want the blades to go faster and therefore go up, and you pitch down to increase speed, and a combination of those two. Island cleared. Have him fly back here. And I'm going to pull carrier up as close as I can to that building. So 354. We are getting awfully close, as you can see. So I'm going to turn around, and then we'll back in. After we take, not this island will give us those albatrosses and then the fast mantas, but after we take Granite, we'll have the petrel, so we will no longer have to get so close to the islands. What we'll do is we'll launch the petrel and the seal that has the virus bots, and we will have the petrel pick it up. So I'm actually going to watch this depth sonar. The aircraft carrier going backwards is faster than the seal will go on water. And so that's why I'm getting as close as I can. And that's close enough. So, a whole bunch of things happen at the same time. Launch off the seal, get it a little bit closer, have it deploy its vehicle, and come back. Same time, I'm going to launch a new Albatross over to Granite. Once that one is up, I'm going to make sure that I turn off reverse. Man, we are close. Ooh. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to back up a little, or go forward a little. There we go. I think the current was pushing us into the island. So we'll move at a knot or 0. There's enough forward speed right about there. That should be... There we go. You can see there, we're just barely moving away. Okay. That guy has got about 10 seconds. So I will tell this Razorbill to land. I will tell this Albatross to land. We'll start to surveil the next island. Now that that is launched, and we're on to take our third island, I will plan on stopping this video as soon as we take Beacon. And I use these Razorbills through the entire campaign with the 20mm guns. They're just so effective. Even later on when you have 3 and 4 shield islands, they're still very effective once you get rid of all the AA. Alright, so that SEAL is going. We're landing our Albatross, and our other Albatross is approaching the next island. Still too far away to really see anything. I will take this time to look on the horizon. Sometimes you'll see other aircraft carriers as they're launching off their cruise missiles. The AI aircraft carriers love cruise missiles, and so they just launch them like they're free. Well, they are free to the AI, since they don't actually have to build anything. And see if we can start making some of these out. Just a couple of them. Let's see what's going on here. We have almost launched our virus bots, and then he will come back. I could have driven him. In fact, I'm going to take control. And start bringing him back, since this guy was slow. Sounds like my Razorbill is landing. Looks like, oh, there's the Razorbill landing. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's see if I can guess that this is the right way down. Whoa! Well, but I'm in water. That was lucky. Don't do that, boys and girls. Alright. There we go. I'm going to do some spotting over here. And then we'll call this an episode. First 3 islands taken. Before I end this video, we will order up a couple of mantas. I hope I have enough money for a couple of mantas. Because mantas change everything. And you will see why. Alright, I'm going to go over here to Beacon, which we've now taken, I think. Yep. So, we have taken Beacon. We can build albatrosses, and we can also build mantas. So I'm going to build at least 1 manta. We have 2,500. 2 mantas is worth it. And with that, we'll end this video, and see you the next time.